What's up, Vibe and Jivin here. You ever just feel like you have nothing to look forward to and can't really get excited to get up in the morning? Well, I was there one day. This feeling still comes and goes, but hopefully what I'm about to tell you helps you avoid that feeling and leads you to the happiest life possible. Little background on me, I've always considered myself to be a really positive person. I always look for the best in things, but there have been a lot of times where while I'm externally positive, showing everyone around me happiness, I didn't actually feel it on the inside. But I turned my life around, and now every day I'm happy and excited for what's to come. I'm going to tell you what changed my life around. I'll start with the story, then get into my advice. The positive change started in high school. I didn't really realize that what I did in high school would affect my future as much as it did, but it actually shaped me to who I am today. Pretty much my whole life I was obsessed with sports and video games. Every day I would look forward to playing basketball or on rainy days just hanging and playing video games. But in high school, I started changing things up and I picked up some other hobbies. I tried out rock climbing, playing piano, dating, writing, and making mini movies. Adding this variety to my life was pretty exciting. I never really liked change much because I'm a person of routine. I do stuff day by day. But in high school, I went through a phase where I forced myself to try all these things and experiment. This literally changed my whole entire life. I wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't have the vision for my future that I do now if I hadn't exposed myself to all those different things. I had always been a straight edge student, like I'd get my work done and spent my free time practicing basketball. While I was in high school, I was studying different professions, mostly in a bunch of different fields of science, and I built a whole entire vision for my future. I'd go to college and study astrophysics, and I'd probably work with just telescopes or with NASA or something. I ended up going to college and studying astrophysics for 2 years, and on the side I studied music, writing, and painting. But eventually I realized that I was nowhere near as excited about a future in astrophysics as I thought. I got more excited every single day working on stuff like art, music, and YouTube videos. So what I did was I talked with my parents, and my dad offered a solution. He said I could study game design, which combines art, math, video editing, and gaming all into one profession. This sounded literally perfect, so I made the change. I transferred schools and started studying this. But while I was studying it, I constantly worked on streaming and YouTube videos on the side. After not too long, I realized that I could make a career out of gaming, and I enjoyed it so much more than studying this stuff in school, so I dropped out of school as a whole, made an entire plan to sell my art via merch, make podcasts, continue doing YouTube, and all this stuff. I built a whole career around all the things I love. It wasn't easy, but I did it. So that's my story, pretty much as short as I can tell it, but what advice do I have for you? I had mentioned at the start of this video that I was pretty positive on the outside, but inside a lot of the times I'd be upset and lost. One thing that helped me through this is just trying to weed out any negative things that happen throughout my day. I used to dwell on like one bad thing that would happen and it would ruin my entire day, but now I try to focus on the dozens of good things and ignore that one bad thing. And this is a skill, it's tough to build, but if you can master this, you'll be much happier. You have to build this skill with time, find techniques that work for you, but try to start weeding out all the negativity. Like for example, maybe you can write down at the end of a day like what good things happened and try to ignore the bad thing. Completely put all of your attention on the good stuff that happened throughout the day. So much to the point where you even forget the bad thing that happened. It's tough to do, but sometimes for me, the littlest thing could ruin my entire day, and it was so dumb. So that's a little piece of advice, but the biggest thing that changed my life was testing out all those different hobbies that I talked about. Studying a bunch of different professions and simply exposing myself to all the possibilities that the world has to offer literally changed my life. Simply by grabbing a paintbrush one day, I learned that I love being creative and showcasing that creativity in art. I never thought I would enjoy this because I was so obsessed with sports. My parents would be telling me, oh, you should try doing this, try doing that, but I was so close-minded about it. But one day I just said, screw it, because I had nothing else to do. Let's try something new. And I learned so much about myself and found a new passion by doing this. Now, in my future, I plan to sell paintings to my YouTube audience and apply my passion for art into my merch. I would have never been able to form this plan for my future if I hadn't said screw it and grabbed that paintbrush. If I really think about it, I would have had no clue what I want to do with merch, and I probably would have just hired somebody else to do it for me. But because I tested out painting back in the day, I can now make my own merch, which is going to be so much more fulfilling. And I'll be able to start selling printouts of my paintings and maybe even sell original paintings. And then maybe one day once I retire from gaming, I can become a full-time painter. And I would have never had this idea if I hadn't said screw it and grabbed a paintbrush one day when I was bored. Also, by making little videos in high school, I learned that I have a passion for video editing and storytelling. If I hadn't tried this out, I would have never had the skill to make the videos I do for a living now. Simply saying screw it one day and trying out this new activity gave me the skill set I needed to make the videos I make today. By trying out writing, I learned a lot about myself too. Writing helped me sort my thoughts out, gave me a chance to work on storytelling and creativity, and because I said screw it, picked up that pen and piece of paper, I now plan to share writings in podcasts in the future. Another possible career path, just because I said screw it one day and tried out a hobby for fun. I'm telling you, if you're bored and don't know what to do, if you can't get excited in the morning about anything that's going on, find something you haven't done before or haven't done in a really long time. Like I painted as a kid, I wrote stories in school, I was in the school band, and I hated all these things. But one day when I was older, I tried it again. This time not because I had to, but because I was bored. And it changed me so much for the better. Now, years later, after trying out all these random hobbies that I had no interest in at first, I've built an entire vision, a dream with a plan, and I'm happy and excited to wake up every day to work towards that dream. If you don't know what to do one day, pick up a paintbrush, open a Google Docs, or search on YouTube like how to play the banjo. Start experimenting, and day by day, as you find new interests, you're going to get so much happier. Even if I was still just doing this as a side hobby on top of school or like a full-time job with some company, I would be so much happier because I'd have this to look forward to at the end of the day. If you try something out and it just turns into a hobby that you don't actually end up making money with, at least you have that escape, that thing to look forward to. People that don't have this get bored so often when they don't have anything else to do, like they don't have work, they don't have school, and they have nothing to look forward to while they're at work or school. So just trying out anything random can really help you to look forward to stuff at the end of the day. And maybe if you're younger, it'll help you figure out what you want to do in the future. Lastly, don't let anybody put you down for these hobbies if you decide to pick some up. If you don't think I've been looked down on for some of the stuff that I chose to do with my life, I've been looked down on so many times, but if I really think about it, I'm probably happier than these people because they're just living normal lives with hardly anything to look forward to at the end of the day. If they make fun of somebody for the hobbies they choose to do, they probably don't have any hobbies themselves and they're missing out on a whole entire another world. It's crazy that some people think it's a negative thing to have side hustles like this. Don't let anybody put you down for any hobby that you decide to pick up, because this is the thing that's going to make your life way happier than theirs. If you enjoyed this video, please consider dropping a like, subscribing if you're new, and using code JIVENTV in the Fortnite item shop. Thanks for watching. Peace out.